Arjun Erigaisi is running away with this match. The score is 10-4 in his favor. Gukesh needs to win this to pull back the match. E4, 2 points at stake here in this blitz game. E5, knight f3, knight f6. We are playing 4 minutes plus 2 seconds increment. We have the Petroff on the board. Arjun trying to solidify his 6-point lead in the match by playing the super solid Petroff defense. But Gukesh going for this line, which is supposed to be very sharp and short castle, and white is going to go long castle. So this is going to be an exciting struggle here. The main move here is knight d7 to f6. There's also knight c6 played, but Arjun goes for c6 with the idea of d5. And Gukesh can now long castle here and then put his bishop on d3, play h4 and launch towards the king side. That's the idea. Black on the other hand tries to get the knight to f6, bishop e6, queen a5, try to attack on the queen side as well. So these are the plans, but Gukesh stops in his tracks and pushes his pawn to c4. And he tells Arjun that d5 is not going to be easy now. Knight d7, he long castles. And Arjun now puts his knight on c5. The knight is well placed here. It wants to go to e4, but Gukesh takes it. He gives up his bishop pair, but in return slightly mangles black's structure. Bishop d3, a very strong and powerful bishop. Now very important for Arjun to play queen c7 to stop queen f4, but he goes bishop f6. This is not a good move. But can Gukesh find queen f4? This move is really very powerful. And the reason for it is that the black queen does not then have a very good square. c7 was the perfect square for it, and black's position was fine there. Gukesh takes a bit of time and finds it. Now the threat is bishop h7 and winning the queen. But Arjun has in mind either queen b6 or queen a5. We'll see what he wants to play. Queen a5, you can go a3. And if queen b6 trying to attack the b2 pawn, you can play c3. He goes queen b6 here. And Gukesh very quickly puts his pawn to c3. Now another important moment. I think black must go bishop d8 once again with the idea of queen c7, but he goes bishop e6. And guys, try to think what is an amazing move for Gukesh here. Plays h4. Gukesh has found it. What a move here. He is now angling to go knight g5, bishop h7, and believe it or not, even if you go h6, I am going knight g5 takes, and you can simply take on the g file, opening up the rook and the bishop. The queen can swing over. So now Arjun has big problems to solve. He cannot go g6. His bishop is hanging. Actually, he has no play in this position already. He goes rook a to e8. But what about knight g5 now? Maybe better was rook f e8. And Gukesh jumps in. Knight to g5, h6 played. But now you can actually simply jump into h7 and trap the rook on f8, as Arjun missed it. Actually, the knight is not even hanging because take is winning for white, but you can cash in now. Knight h7, trapping the rook. Yes, and Gukesh plays it. That means Gukesh is now winning this game. Bishop e7 played. He picks up the rook here. And with this, if Gukesh manages to win, he will narrow down the lead to just 4 points for Arjun. There's still some technical work to do. King takes f8. Let's see how Gukesh plays here. An interesting idea is rook h e1, threatening to take on e6 as the pawn is pinned here. And Gukesh has a solid 2 minutes 25 seconds on the clock. He goes g4. He's just hurling his pawns down the board. Just has to be careful not to play h5. Otherwise he would lose the queen here. But I'm sure Gukesh is not going to fall for that. Let's see how Arjun resists here. Queen a5 played. And now maybe king b1. Yes, it's a safe move. b5, trying to create counterplay here. If you take, there is a bishop and a queen eyeing the a2 square. Gukesh goes g5. He wants to open up the king side at all costs. Now he's threatening to take. If you try to block, I will go further in with g6. And also here b takes c4 is not very helpful, because I can simply take bishop c4. He plays h5, and is it time to go? He goes first rook he1, threatening rook e6. It's sometimes very instructive to see how these top players convert their advantage. You can see Arjun being slightly flustered there. He knows he hasn't played well in this game, and this has given Gukesh a chance to make a comeback. Goes bishop to d8. And now queen d6 check somewhere could be possible. c6 pawn is hanging. g6 is on the cards. Another good idea here could be bishop f5, because with that, if you move the bishop, I can simply trade the rooks, and then the d8 bishop could be in trouble. Let's see how Gukesh finishes it. I'm just curious about this variation. Bishop f5, take on c4, rook e8, king e8, and maybe queen e5 check, attacking here, here, here. And if bishop e7, maybe queen b8. So all these lines, interesting ones that can be played, but maybe it's not so clear, and that's the reason why Gukesh is still calculating. And this is important for him. This is an important moment in the match for him. He goes g6. He plays his pawn to g6, trying to open up the black king. 1 minute 13 seconds to Gukesh. Arjun has less than a minute on his clock. Goes bishop to f6, and now takes on f7. He takes with the king. And here I believe now bishop f5, because at this point, if you were to play bishop takes, then there is rook d7 check, king f8, queen d6 check, and you are losing the rook here. And if bishop e7, I'll simply take. There's no mate here. Queen a2, king c1, and I can just drop my bishop back. So these are a few calculations that need to be done, and Gukesh finds it. You can bank on these youngsters to find these moves. Bishop f5, very powerful move, and now it's all over, because once one pair of bishops are traded, the attack is not going to go through. Arjun trying to see if there are any final opportunities left here. He's calculating. Lot of people have gathered in Hyderabad for this death match. It's part of the dream hack organized by Nodwin Gaming. The death match is a series of games that happen between two top players to determine who's the winner. Only one of them can come ahead, and this is what is going to happen in this match as well. Right now we are in the blitz section, and after that we will also have the bullet section. Bishop takes f5, queen f5 played, rooks are traded. He takes. Now queen d8 with some ideas if he can get in for some checks. Gukesh is careful here whether to take or not on h5. Takes the pawn comes up forward to g6, and maybe just dropping the queen back to f3. Yes, queen f3. He takes on c4, and now you can even chop off this pawn, perhaps. Queen takes c6, but Gukesh is very clinical. He goes h5, opening up the king even further. Pawn to g5, and now queen f5 with the idea of queen g6. The only way for black to survive is to trade queens. Arjun is down to his last couple of seconds. Pawn takes, Yes, he will get the pawn to c4, but this is not really dangerous. The king can just come and settle down here. Rook e4 could also be an idea. Pawn to g4, king d2, and now rook e4, attacking c4 and g4. There's a check, king drops back, and he takes on g4. c4 is falling. Arjun resigns. Gukesh pulls back one game. This is what Gukesh is so good at. He doesn't really collapse, and you can see there Arjun being not so happy with this. Arbiter Vivek Sohani comes in, and the timer has been stopped because it's 1 hour of blitz, and the score is now 10-6 in the favor of Arjun.